Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with some Yubel, because I don't think I've actually covered it yet this season, so definitely wanted to get in here with that and made sure that we, well, of course did so. So, yeah, not too much has changed, honestly, with the concept of Yubel in release of recent selection packs. We have not seen any new cards since the release of Summon Sorceress, which will majorly impact how this deck is played. The next cards that I would anticipate to be that being cards that would impact how this deck plays, would either be Veridrus, is that what the card's called? The generic rank 10 that's an Omni-Negate, and of course the Fiendsmith engine. I would anticipate we'll get the rank 10 before the Fiendsmith engine, but of course with Master Duel, you never can quite tell. With Yubel in particular, though, I do still think that despite the fact that it hasn't really changed that much, I would probably call this the best deck in the meta, although Master Duel is in a particularly interesting spot where, this is actually something that I've said recently when talking about different variants of decks, right? Like with Sprite variants, and people asking, what's the best Sprite variant? It's less that there is a best Sprite variant, and more that there's pros and cons to each, right? And how those fit into the meta is going to determine which you kind of decide to go with. That was the overall kind of, I guess, a summarization of what I described in that video. But you can actually apply that concept to the meta as a whole, especially right now. You know, it's not like when Snake Eye first came out, and there was like one obvious best deck. Or most powerful deck. Right now, I would generally consider Yubel to be the best deck, but honestly, in my opinion, I think every deck that's in Tier 1 and Tier 2 is pretty comparable in terms of power level. And it's more a matter of citing each of that deck's pros and cons, how consistent it is, what its end boards look like, its matchups in respective meta, how well it plays into certain hand traps and floodgates, etc. I think that matters a lot more in this meta. So when I say Yubel's the best deck, I guess really what I more mean is that when it comes to that balance of consistency, power level, and weaknesses, Yubel kind of has the best overall spread, but not by a lot. And, because, you know, I might say Yubel's the best deck, and you might say, oh, but this deck is more consistent. Oh, but this deck puts out better end boards. Oh, but this deck has tons of better matchups into this meta. And those would all be valid statements about various different decks. And those are all various valid reasons to run different decks in this metagame. Yeah, I think Master Duel's in a pretty good spot. You know, as much as people like to complain about the metagame, they do this with literally every metagame, by the way. I really do think that we are in a pretty fantastic spot in terms of game balance right now. So this Yubel build in particular, we're on 42 cards. I usually like to go over 42 if we have certain cards we don't want to open. Here we have like the Chaos Summoning Beast we're not particularly looking to open. You know, honestly, Gruesome Gravesquirmer we can just search out anyway, so it's not even just a matter of us being able to search it out, but it's not like we have a much better card to search in its place, so yeah, it's why I'm only playing one copy and in a 42 card deck. I'm actually really not looking to draw this card, because the alternative, if you don't search Gruesome Gravesquirmer, is you're going to search like an extra D-Lotus or Spirit of Yubel, neither of which is going to be like outstandingly helpful in a combo line, right? But to help consistency in an over 40 card deck, we are also on 3 copies of Piri Ree's map. I do think this card is still fairly optional. And that is also evident if you look at the numbers of how often it's played. It's played at 2 to 3 copies about 56% of the time. So I would consider that very optional. That said, ever since the semi-limits of both the Dark Beckoning Beast and Opening of the Spirit Gates, I do think that there is a lot of value in having the Pure Reese maps to help sort of make up the difference. And again, especially in an over 40 card deck. Another reason I went over a little bit over 40 cards for this build was to be able to include more hand traps. Maxing out on both Veilers and Imperms, as well as playing Nib, and also fitting in the triple tack as well. So Gamma is one of the big cards that's out, I guess, from a recent ban list. This card going to 1. I don't know, it's like, it's still a powerful card. I don't even think it's bad to play. Like, I could see a world where you would cut a triple tack and like a Veiler, and then you could just play the Gamma and Driver. But I'm a little bit hesitant to, for obvious reasons, I think. I don't know, the Gamma is still very, very helpful for Yubel in particular, which begins the majority of its plays without a monster on the field, be that with Pure Reese map, or Nightmare Throne, or Opening the Spirit Gates, or Samsara D-Lotus. These are all instances in which after you play and activate your first card, you won't have a monster on the field, right? So, there's a lot of ways in which Gamma can help, but I don't know. Again, I value consistency in a ranked ladder more than anything else, so that is generally why I've not been playing it. But that's not to say that I think Gamma is bad or that it's wrong to play it. I really need to just do some experimentation with it more than anything else. Yeah, I don't really know that I have much else to say about Yubel at this point. Yeah, like I said, the build's pretty much the same as it's been. We'll break it down card by card, though. I don't know the last time we did that with Yubel, so let's go ahead and do that now before we watch some of these games for this video. So we are on 3 Effect Veiler, 1 Chaos Summoning Beast, 3 Samsara D-Lotus, 1 Gruesome Grave Squirmer, 3 Maxi, 2 Dark Beckoning Beast, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Unchained Soul of Sharvara, 1 Yubel, 3 Spirit of Yubel, 1 Yubel Terror Incarnate, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1/1/4/1. We got 1 Triple Tactics Talent, 3 Pure Reese map, 3 Nightmare Throne, 2 Opening of the Spirit Gates, 2 Nightmare Pain, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Eye Designator, 3 Infinite Permanents, and then 1 Escape of the Unchained. That's going to be our 42 card main deck. For the extra, we've got 2 Phantom of Yubel, 1 Chaos Angel, 1 Superstar Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis, 1 Salmagray Almirage, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Unchained Soul of Rage, 1 Cross Sheep, 1 Muckraker from the Underworld, 1 Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Summon Sorceress, 1 Unchained Soul of Anguish, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, and finally 1 Access Code Talker. That's going to do it for our list. Let's check out some of these games. Alright, so more Duelist Cup games. Won't know exactly what our opponent's on until the game itself starts, but I do remember that this first game we're going to watch here is a good example of showing some board building with a Yubel turn 1 combo line. I mean, we've got Dark Beckoning Beast, we've got Samsara D-Lotus, that is a full turn 1 combo line, and by full, I mean we're going to end on 3 Mat Apo, Phantom of Yubel, Unchained Soul Lord of Rage, and Samsara D-Lotus for an extra monster negation. You could end on a 4-mat Appaloosa instead of 3-mat Apo plus Samsara D-Lotus, but I like spreading our negates out among multiple bodies if possible. Stops Imperm from eating like as many negates by itself, you know. But so, kind of going through the combo line a little bit quickly here. I've explained the Yubel combo line in further detail in previous videos, so feel free to check those out if you would like to. But the other nice thing about the Yubel combo line is that it's very flexible. If you open something like this, like Samsara D-Lotus plus Dark Beckoning Beast, there are actually a number of different orders that you could do things in, right? One of the main things you're going to want to do, though, of course, is summon the Yama as your first, generally your first Link summon. I think it's always better to go into Yama before Cross Sheep, for example, right? Alright, now here we're going to go for the Cross Sheep right after the Yama. At that point, we can shuffle the 2 of those back for Phantom. Or rather, Cross Sheep's going to bring back Samsara D-Lotus. Now I'm going to use Opening to pitch Nightmare Pain, bring back Spirit of Yubel, can then use the other opening effect to add back that Nightmare Pain. You're going to want to pop the Spirit with the Sharvara to bring out Yubel, then you can link off Sharvara with Yubel, and that'll let you make your Unchained Soul of Rage. Now Sharvara's effect will let you set the Escape of the Unchained. From here, I'm going to use my Gruesome Grave Squirmer to bring back the Spirit of Yubel, then link off the Spirit with Cross Sheep and Phantom for the 3-material Appaloosa. Finally, once the Appaloosa has been link summoned, I can shuffle back the Spirit of Yubel and Yubel in my graveyard for the second Phantom. And there we go. That is the end board that results from opening the Dark Beckoning Beast plus the Samsara D-Lotus. And even without the extra, like, Dark Beckoning Beast, like, body, even if you just open Samsara D-Lotus by itself, you can still end on 3-mat Appo, Rage, and Phantom of Yubel. Now, you do go through both of your Phantom of Yubel in your turn 1 combo line, right? You don't have any left in your deck. However, if you sequence properly during your opponent's turn, you can actually recycle one of those Phantoms, thanks to the Unchained Soul of Rage effect, to add a Fiend monster in graveyard to your hand, right? Rather than actually adding something to your hand, you would put back one of the Phantom of Yubel that's in your graveyard back into your extra deck. And that is generally what you want to do a lot of the time, right? Especially if you think it's going to be a grindier game. Looks like our opponent's going to be on Chimera here, so they're going to fight for Patchwork for the Poly and the Edgit Master. From there, they're going for the Nightmare Apprentice, and they do an excellent bit of chain blocking here. You see, what my opponent has done is they've done Chain Link 1 Nightmare Apprentice, Chain Link 2 Edgit Chain. Now, if I want to negate with any of my monster negate effects like Appo or Phantom or Samsara D-Lotus, then I would have to do so against the Edgit Chain, right? By the way, with Samsara D-Lotus, it does change the effect to destroy one Yubel monster on the field. So you need a Phantom before a Samsara D-Lotus. Phantom will change in effect to destroy a Yubel monster in hand, deck, or field. So that'll let you pop Spirit. Spirit summons regular Yubel. Then you can use Samsara D-Lotus to change in effect to destroy Yubel on the field, destroying your Yubel, original Yubel, and then going into Terra Incarnate. Definitely want to make sure to note that bit of sequencing there. As well as my opponent did play, it actually just doesn't matter because I have an Effect Veiler in hand. So, and as you can see, they're going to concede as a result. So, for as well as they played for their careful planning, it actually just didn't matter. Also do like using Veiler there before anything else because it is the most conditional of our negates. It can only be used on a monster on the field, and it has to be used from my hand during the opponent's main phase. So, that duel was rather short, but don't worry, I have a very long back and forth that we're going to go into right now. Let's go ahead and see this game. Okay, so I do remember what this opponent was playing. They were on some sort of a Tenpai pile deck. I'm going to assume it was Tenpai Tearlament, but no, not really sure of that for certain. You'll see why in a moment here. So, this hand's looking a little bit less certain, right, as far as what it can do. But I do have openings, so I can go for the Dark Beckoning Beast. Beckoning Beast effect to add the Chaos Summoning Beast. Now, from here, I'm going to extra normal summon the Chaos Summoning Beast, and then link into the Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. Going to activate the Yama effect to attempt to add the Sharvara, but my opponent will have the Ash Blossom here. I do want to note that if my opponent had not Ashed here, I could have still gone into a full Yubel combo, and this would have been a line where we utilize the Summon Sorceress. Basically, the idea here is that I Yama to add the Sharvara to hand. Then I open and discard one of my Veilers to bring back one of my Fiends. Link them, the Fiend and the Yama, into Summon Stork. From there, Summon Stork specials the Sharvara in my hand to my opponent's field. And then we special summon the Samsara D-Lotus from deck. Oh, wait, but then that uses the opening, and I can't use opening's effect to bring back D-Lotus. That might not have worked then. Okay, never mind. I don't think I actually would have been able to summon Sork into full combo here, so might have been a bit of a blessing in disguise that my opponent Ash Blossom the Yama here. I would have needed a way to bring back the D-Lotus in the graveyard, because it gets negated is the problem. Oh, but no, you just Muckraker, and then you bring it back. So yeah, that would have worked. Never mind, we're good. It's actually been a bit since I've played Yubel. I forgot how you do the combo line for a second there. So, it's a good thing we opened Escape here, actually, because we are still able to pivot into the Unchained Soul of Rage. Definitely want to lead with a Veiler on Pydra, because Veiler, of course, can only be used during the main phase, so want to use it against Tenpai as quickly as possible. So I let Destrudo go here because I was not expecting a Super Poly. I thought they were going to synchro into the Biden Dragon, but Super Poly into Mud Dragon is a little bit more of an issue, as you can see, of course, because it gets the Rage off the field, meaning that I'm not able to, well, to use it for Disruption. I do want to note, of course, that they used Fairy Tail Snow as the Super Poly discard, and that's when I started thinking, I was like, wait, Fairy Tail Snow off of Super Poly discard. At this point, I noted they were over 40 cards, and I was like, it's got to be a Tier Limit hybrid. We'll see a little bit more evidence of this at some point, but yeah, they're not really able to like OTK me here or anything, which is good. They're going to go into an SP Little Knight after battling, which does take away my opening and a decent bit of my ability to come back here. So, setting a card and then passing over to me. Top deck Dark Beckoning Beast is not bad. I would of course rather have had something like D-Lotus, but we'll take this. Little Knight's going to banish itself into Beckoning Beast, but I still get to add opening. Excuse me. But I don't have any more targets to search for opening, meaning I can't even activate it, which is very unfortunate. Alright, now because of the battle, I can use the Yama effect to bring back the Unchained Soul of Rage, which is quite good. Now I'm able to battle over my opponent's SP Little Knight. Still not finding any plays myself, but, you know, it's as I mentioned a couple of times in recent videos, when you're in a simplified game state, you don't have to pop off with a combo to win the game if you're able to just keep control of the board state. Between my Ash Blossom to stop them from adding anything that would let them combo off, to the fact that my call buys are going to be able to stop plays potentially, means I have pretty solid control. Of course, in addition to Unchained Soul of Rage's own effect plus the escape. Now, I no longer have Yama to bring Rage back if I pop for escape, but we'll cross that bridge if we get to it. Yeah, opponent doesn't really found any plays here. I'm not really scared of Keldo and Snow with my double call by here. Same even if they top deck Pydra, I can use call by to threaten to negate that. Alright, now since I've top deck Spirit of Yubel, I can actually special summon a Phantom. From there, I can activate Opening again, because now I have a Dark Beckoning Beast in my deck. Normal summon the Beckoning Beast, and then link it with the Unchained Soul of Rage to go into the Unchained Soul of Anguish. My opponent's only at 2,000 life points, meaning that I can now swing in for lethal. They're going to try to use the Fairy Tail Snow here. There's Tier Limit Screen that does confirm it was a Tier Limit deck. Going to attempt to chain with Call by first. Opponent's face down ended up being Cross Out Designator. Thankfully, we have the second Call by set, so I'm just going to use that here. And that is going to end up being it. My opponent does not have another response. They do have that Keldo in the yard, but that doesn't save them here. And that is going to be our victory. Wow. So, very back and forth game. As you can see, this game illustrated that when your opening hand is not that great, one, we did actually demonstrate that had we not been disrupted, we could have gone into a Yubel combo line anyway. But two, you know, even if you're not able to get that combo line off, again, just keep it to a simplified game state. Keep track of how many negates you've got versus your opponent's number of life plays, and it's not too difficult in that situation to stay ahead and win. So, all right. Got one more game we're going to show off before we finish this video off here. Alright, so this last replay is going to be another little bit of a shorter one that's going to show off some more turn 1 board building, but I think this opponent does have... They do play a little bit more instead of just surrendering instantly. So, now here we have D-Lotus plus opening, so we... yet again have access to the full turn 1 combo. It's a bit unfortunate that we opened both Gruesome Gravesquirmer and Escape. Those are actually two cards that were kind of two of the main reasons why we're playing 42 cards in the deck, is to not open these cards specifically. Yeah, we're gonna just do some pretty typical combo stuff here. Spirit of Yubel for the Yubel, and then we can special the Gravesquirmer. Gravesquirmer pop the Yubel. Yubel effect to special the Terra Incarnate, linking into the Yama, which will add the Sharvara. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, the Sharvara no longer has an escape to add, and well, with the Nightmare Pain, as I mentioned before, like, we just added this random Spirit of Yubel because it was either that or Samsara D-Lotus. So again, it's not just a matter of we don't excuse me, we don't want to draw Gruesome Gravesquirmer because we would because we can't search it. It's again more of the fact that we don't really have a better alternative search target. So we really do want to search that. It really does kind of suck, because like that could have been a hand trap, that could have been like a call by or a cross out or a triple tack. There's a lot of things we would have preferred to open other than the Gruesome Grave Squirmer. But you know, our opponent doesn't have any hand traps here. We're able to go off uninterrupted. As you can see, we've got the Rage, the Apo, the Phantom, and we can even put the Samsara D Lotus in play as a cherry on top. So, you know, all things considered, definitely can't complain about a hand like this. But it's going to lead with Imperm on the Appaloosa, then start throwing out L-Swarm bodies. Wow, L-Swarm. God, that's a blast from the past. I haven't seen a combo line like this since probably 2014, about a decade ago. But yeah, the Imperm on the Appaloosa looks pretty devastating, but it's actually, it doesn't even really matter here, because we still have Phantom, we still have Rage. Like, to count the number of interactions we have, minus Appaloosa, by the way, we can still, the order I would do this in as well, I would look to use Escape on Rage before actually activating the Rage effect. That way I can use Yama to bring Rage back, and then a Rage effect to put Phantom of Yubel in the graveyard into the extra deck. That's a destruction right there. From there, I can still use the Unchained Soul of Rage effect to go into SP Little Knight. That's a monster removal that then goes into a banish. That's 1, 2, 3 forms of removal. The SP Little Knight secondary banish effect offering a fourth. Also, again, as mentioned before, you want to sequence Phantom of Yubel before you activate Samsara D Lotus. So Phantom of Yubel to change a monster effect into Popping Spirit. That's a 5th form of disruption. Spirit effect then summons Yubel. Samsara D Lotus can then use its effect to pop the Yubel, change an opponent's effect to popping the Yubel into Terra Incarnate. That's a 6th form of disruption. So we have 6 forms of interaction on this board, and that's not including the Appaloosa that got negated. Which I would only count as a 7th, by the way. It's really tending to count that as 9 forms of interaction. Like, whoa, the Appaloosa adds 3. But Appaloosa, you're only going to be able to get off 1 negate, if that, and that's being optimistic, honestly. A lot of times Appaloosa is either impermed or just is unnecessary because of what else you all have, so. Anyway, yeah, so they're going to go for an Exceeds monster here, but it's just Baguska, so I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And they just concede because Baguska doesn't do anything. Yeah, Baguska doesn't do anything there because I can still, of course, use the Unchained Soul of Rage effect, and I still have the trap card, and I can still go into an access code during my follow-up turn, among like many other things. So once again, showing off the power of the turn 1 end board for Yubel and its layered interactions. That's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Thanks as always for watching. Why don't we go ahead and move on to our outro now. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's again free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.